Thanks very much, everyone, for coming, and welcome to our new offices here in Angel Court, which some might say signal the top of the market. Quite a lot's changed in 2 years since we had our last manager forum in 2015, not least our surroundings. But I'm just going to give a little update on the team, probably tell you a few things that are quite familiar, and then hand over to a few members of the team who are going to come up and tell you about some of the things we've been looking at, some things we've been doing, some things we think are interesting on a forward-looking basis. We will have a slot for Q&A at the end, so if people can't contain themselves, I watched The Big Short the other night. I was very amused by Steve Carroll being unable to control himself, asking questions in the middle of the session. So if anyone feels like Steve in The Big Short, feel free to ask a question midway through, but otherwise, if you can control yourself, we can wait for the Q&A at the end. So first, just want to tell you a little bit about how the team has grown over the past couple of years. So 2015, we had 11 in manager research, 10 dedicated manager researchers, and Dan Swain at the top right looking after our reporting process. 3 main changes as we come into 2017. So first, you'll notice quite a lot more people. So we're now 15 dedicated manager researchers. That number will continue to grow. I would expect that number will be 18 or 19 by midway through next year. And the second big change is that we've spun out and split up a dedicated reporting team. So Dan Swain now leads a dedicated reporting team. Hopefully you've seen a greater level of responsiveness and a greater level of efficiency from us on that side. And finally, what you'll notice if you look at the little icons that designate the asset classes that people are focused on, what you'll see is that we've become more specialized. And I think you should expect to see that trend continue as we go on. And I think that's very much reflective of the increased level of sort of depth in research that our clients are expecting. So why have we continued to grow the team, and why do we expect to continue to grow the team over the coming years? Well, the answer is that ultimately we see a really fertile market opportunity for ourselves, not just in the broader investment consulting space, but particularly in the manager research space and the asset class advisory space. And so there's a few reasons for that. And of course, as ever, be explained through the lens of a 2x2, because as any good Reddington fan knows, there's nothing that can't be explained through the use of a 2x2. So if we have the firms that are more advisory focused over towards the right, as we perceive them, firms that are more fiduciary focused towards the left, those that have part-time manager research at the bottom, and those that have full-time focused manager research at the top. We see ourselves here at the top right. Thank you, Emily, for that animation. And we think that this space between the top right and the top left is becoming increasingly clear. The firms at the top left are pushing themselves further left. That's their focus. And so there's clear space for us in that top right zone. And a lot of those firms at the bottom with part-time research have made it clear they don't want to have full-time research. That's not part of their model. We think that's really important, and that's driving our engagement and our interaction with sophisticated and large clients like St. James's Place, for whom we've just identified and helped them to launch their new Japan equity fund, and also TPT under CIO Cliff Speed, who you probably saw in the news just recently, announced they're shifting their advisory relationship from Mercer to Reddington. So it's this ongoing evolution and these sophisticated clients that are driving this. Another 2x2, I think most of you have probably seen this one before, but another differentiator for us is we're not focused, as most of you will know now, on bonds, stocks and alternatives, but instead we view the world through the characteristics of asset classes. Are they liquid or illiquid? Do they give us contractual cash flow or not? And this focus has really actually been very helpful for our clients in 2 particular ways. First, it's driven higher allocations to total return and more alternative strategies. And secondly, it's driven a balance between carry strategies and capital return strategies. And that's really benefited our clients in their risk-adjusted returns over the past few years. So just a few more changes. As you see, we've moved from Austin Friars House, which itself was a big cultural and setup change from Mallow Street. Those of you who visited us in our old original offices in Old Street. And here we are in Angel Court, 19,000 square feet, and a huge amount more collaborative space for us to work in. You'll also notice a brand change. Someone said to me, that's not a colour, I don't know what to call that colour. Well, I can tell you what that colour is. It's called Reddington Raspberry, and I love it. A few more changes just in the numbers. I think it's fair to say our growth has been ambitious but measured. So we've gone from 55 clients being looked after by 78 employees to 87 clients being looked after by 131 employees. And what you'll notice is that employee growth outpaces the client growth, and that's very much a sign of that continued client focus that we have here and the very high levels of client satisfaction that we continue to aspire to. And on the research side, a similar level of conviction and focus. So 2015, 60 preferred managers across 22 preferred lists. Now, following the expansion of the equity franchise and additional preferred lists coming on stream, we now have 86 preferred managers across 35 preferred lists. But delighted to say that we've been able to maintain that same level of conviction, as you can see. So actually, the number of managers per preferred list has actually fallen slightly through that time period.